We've allowed students to start going to Africa because we feel like it could be something that really impacts their life, not only now, but for the rest of their lives, to see a bunch of people who find happiness with having nothing. Helps us as Americans come back and see how much stuff we have that really doesn't bring us happiness. For me as a youth pastor, for students to realize that their happiness comes in their identity in Jesus, which is, that's not only my job, but it's my life and it's what I believe in the most.
I found out about this mission trip to Uganda because my cousin actually went 2 years ago, and he got to tell me how the experience was. And then my pastor really kept bugging me about going and just kept asking me if I was interested in it, and finally I just decided it was something I wanted to do. You don't really know how much it's affecting other people across the world, with what they don't have, and getting to go and see and experience that they have nothing and have so much joy. It just helps you realize how much we actually have and not to take things for granted.
This was something that I've seen for 2 years, on a trip that I want to go and do. I want to go and feed into these people's lives, but I just thought there was excuses to get in the way, so I finally just said, I'm going to do it.
So going over there was a lot of people who put the stereotype on me that I was just going over there to make myself look better and stuff. And at the beginning, it's started getting to my head that oh, we are going over there and doing so much good for these people. But you don't realize once you get there that they're actually in return helping you and changing your life by showing you you don't need all this to live, and that with them, God is the only thing they need.
Kind of made me rethink my life, because you sit there and you're complaining oh no, I need a charger, your phone's about to die, or I don't have Wi-Fi here. But these kids they don't even have phones, they don't have some of the basic needs that we have. And so it's just cool getting to go there and see them having this overwhelming joy that I wish I had.
If I'm hungry, I have a pantry to go to, or I have a closet full of clothes that I can wear, and a washing machine, fresh water, a bed that I don't even need my queen bed. I could use a twin or smaller. You know what I'm saying? It's just everything that I have. It kind of makes me think oh, I should, be more thankful for that.
One of the big issues there is how their houses are the size of your closets, and it's their kitchen's in there, their living room, everything in one's in there. So one corner will be where they're cooking their food, but right next to it, it's where they're using the bathroom. You walk in and there's just buckets where they're going to the restroom, and then they have to sleep right next to that every night. So it's hard for their health goes really downhill because they're eating with the same water they're using the bathroom in. Getting to go on this trip, it was really cool because my family actually sponsors 2 kids in Uganda, Joan and Ollie. Joan is our sponsor child, who is a girl, and she's 14 years old. So she is at P7, which is our elementary school. And just getting to talk to her, I learned a little more about her story. And so her dad left when she was 5 to go find work in the city and just never came back. And she's always had that hope that he's gonna come back and be a part of their family. And it was just so hard to hear her still have hope and hold on to that she thought he was coming back, even though the realistics of it is that he's not going to, because most dads that leave just don't end up coming back. But with her holding on to that, she just kept her little siblings going and helped them focus on school too, because she gave them hope that they didn't have. Ollie is our boy sponsor child who's 13, and so it was cool to go and just get to sit down one day on a bench in their park area and just sit and talk. And then we were sitting there and he just started crying, and I was kind of confused on what was going on. And then he just started breaking down and telling me about the story of how his dad died. And so we were just sitting there and he told us about how his dad got shot right in front of him whenever he was 8, his dad got shot right in front of him. And how seeing that, he's just trying to be a better role model for his siblings and showing them there's a way to get out. And so he just now goes to school so he can make that better life for his family, and he's trying to work so that way his mom can support the rest of them. And it was really cool just because by the end of the trip, me and him bonded so much. It was really sad and hard for me to leave just because I knew I made such a good connection. And it was even harder whenever I got home and opened up my backpack and I saw that he snuck a letter into my bag without me knowing. And so he wrote to each of us a little section and just talked to us each and told us how much he appreciates everything we're doing and how he just wishes we could all come next time and get to spend time with him and meet his family.
You go there and you fall in love with these kids and you just don't have enough time. Like it's 2 weeks, but as soon as you get to leave, you just don't realize like how little 2 weeks is. Like you wish you could just spend more time diving into these kids' lives and just loving on them, because that's a lot of like, they just don't get love.
But when we go to the like orphanages and like the schools, we get to see that like how much being sponsored has an impact on like some of these kids, because the kids that aren't sponsored, you can kind of tell are like don't really want to do their work, or they're more distant from everyone else because they don't feel as like loved as the kids who are sponsored and who always are told like you can do this, like continue with your schoolwork. So it's really hard to like see those kids who don't focus as much because they don't think they're equally as loved as the kids who have a sponsor child.
The hardest thing about having to leave Uganda was probably meeting my sponsor kid and then having to leave, because the time we got to spend together was so awesome. Once you're there, it just feels like home, so it's kind of hard to part from that.
You learn that with so little, they have so much faith in God. And with us, we have so many distractions, and I feel like our faith is weak.
I'll never be the same from my first trip. Just being able to experience the love that they have for each other. When they have nothing else in this world, they have love for God and they have love for one another. And as a Christian, that's what I'm called to do. And so when I come back, I'm always inspired and encouraged to love God more and to love people more, and also be willing to help those that are in need.